You think Messi came to MLS to slow down? Nah, he came to pull the whole league into a new universe, and most people still don't see what's happening. For most of MLS history, the league had a ceiling, respectable, growing, but still not must watch. Now Messi lands in Miami, and suddenly, the league isn't just playing soccer anymore, it's playing global attention. And today, we're not talking about Inter Miami. Inter Miami was the matchstick. The real story is the wildfire that spread across the entire country. Because Messi didn't just change one team, he changed what MLS means. Here's what I mean. Before Messi, an MLS away game was usually an away game. Now, Inter Miami shows up and the whole city turns into a carnival. Stadiums that used to feel nice start feeling like events. Even when Messi doesn't play, the crowd still buys tickets because hope is a product, and Messi sells hope like nobody else. One Forbes report estimates that Messi helped sell 400,000 plus tickets across Inter Miami's away games when he didn't even appear. That's the first ripple. Demand. Not just in Miami, everywhere. And demand changes everything. Demand changes how teams price tickets. It changes where teams choose to play big matches. It changes how owners think about investment. It changes how sponsors value the league. It changes how players around the world talk about MLS. It even changes what Apple and broadcasters decide is worth pushing. This is the Messi ripple effect. And if you blink, you'll miss the biggest shift American soccer has ever had. So let's rewind for a second. When Messi debuted in the US, the shockwave hit immediately. Not just in stadiums, but on screens. On the day of Messi's debut, US signups to MLS Season Pass and Apple TV Plus jumped dramatically. 110,000 compared to 6,143 the day before, according to antenna data reported by the Wall Street Journal. It's not more people watched, that's people reached for their wallets. And once wallets open, business starts sprinting. MLS teams and sponsors started treating the league differently because the league suddenly had a new word attached to it: international. You want proof? Look how MLS started getting talked about in the same breath as real sports business numbers, attendance records, sponsor growth, and big money moves. An Associated Press piece carried by ESPN credited the Messi effect as MLS hit record attendance marks and shows growth in sponsorship revenue. And the next wave came: investment. Because when a league gets attention, owners stop thinking like survive and start thinking like dominate. In 2025, MLS clubs reportedly spent approximately $336 million on transfers, a league record that nearly doubled the previous calendar year high of $188 million set in 2024. That number isn't just a number, it's a message. It's MLS owners saying, we're not waiting to be taken seriously, we're buying our way into the conversation. And this is where the ripple effect becomes dangerous, in a good way. Because now, it's not only Messi, it's what Messi unlocks. Messi makes MLS look like a real destination. So, other stars stop treating it like a retirement home and start treating it like a stage. Messi makes the league feel culturally relevant. So, casual fans start paying attention, which makes hardcore fans louder, which makes the atmosphere better, which makes the product more watchable. Let's be honest, how many people started supporting Inter Miami and staying up late at night in other parts of the world just to watch Messi play? Drop it in the comments. Messi makes Inter Miami valuable. So every other club looks at that and goes, wait, our franchise can be worth that? Forbes' latest valuations show Inter Miami's value has surged, ranking the club as the second most valuable in MLS at roughly $1.2 billion, trailing only the LA Galaxy at $1.25 billion. And sitting ahead of European giants such as Inter Milan, Newcastle, Aston Villa, West Ham, and Roma. That kind of headline does something to owners' brains. It's like watching your neighbor flip a house for a fortune. You don't say, good for them. You say, okay, where's my property? And then you start renovating. Which is exactly what MLS is doing, team by team, city by city. New training facilities, bigger stadium plans, better scouting, better academies, bigger signings, louder marketing, cleaner branding, more aggressive sponsorship deals. And sponsors love this part. Because sponsors don't fall in love with soccer, they fall in love with attention. Sports Pro reported on MLS sponsorship growth and how Messi is clearly part of the gravity pulling brands in. Now let's talk about the revolution nobody expected to be this huge. The eventification of soccer in America. Football, American football, has always been the king of this event. Tailgates, giant stadiums, big TV days. Basketball is the king of stars. Baseball is the king of traditions. MLS used to be the king of, that's cool, I guess. Messi changed that vibe. Because Messi doesn't feel like a player in the league. Messi feels like a visiting superhero who somehow decided to live here. So every time he shows up, it feels like a movie premiere. Packed stadiums and a celebrity roll call that includes Serena Williams, LeBron James, Kim Kardashian, Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, P. Diddy, and a host of others. And that energy spreads. Because even if you're not an Inter Miami fan, you're still part of the movement. It's like a traveling circus, except the lion is a 5'7" guy with a left foot that ruins people's weekends. But here's the part most people miss. Inter Miami wasn't the end goal. It was the proof of concept. The league needed a signal strong enough to change global perception. Messi was that signal. And now the league is building systems to keep the growth going after the shock wears off. That's why the broadcasting and streaming conversations matter so much. Because American soccer has always had a visibility problem. Games were spread out, hard to find, hard to follow. MLS tried to fix that with centralizing streaming and consistent access. And now that the audience is larger, the league keeps experimenting. Apple reportedly planned changes for 2026 that would remove the separate MLS season pass fee, putting MLS games inside broader Apple TV access, basically lowering friction so more people can stumble into watching. That's not a small tweak. That's the league saying, we want scale. And scale is how you build a permanent sports culture, not just a temporary hype wave. Okay, so if the ripple effect is real, what's the problem? Here's the problem. Hype is easy. Legacy is hard. The US has been soccer hype before. A big World Cup, a big star, a hot summer. Then it cools off. So the challenge for MLS is this. Can it turn the Messi moment into a Messi era? Can it build fans who stay even when Messi isn't the headline? Because if not, then this whole thing becomes the coolest fireworks show ever, and then the sky goes dark again. That's the danger. And you can already see the league fighting that danger in real time. MLS clubs are spending more. Sponsors are paying more attention. The product is being packaged more aggressively. But here's the deeper challenge. When Messi raises the standard, fans don't just want Messi, they start wanting everything else to rise too. They want better soccer, better stadium vibes, better TV production, better rivalries, better narratives. Messi basically walked into MLS, raised the bar with one hand, now every club has to jump and touch it. And that pressure is healthy, but it's also ruthless. Because once you show people premium, they don't want to go back to good enough. So MLS has two options. One, use Messi as a shortcut to relevance, or two, use Messi as the launch point to become a league that stands on its own. And this is where the story gets spicy, because the league is already starting to see what it looks like when the Messi era turns into trophies, not just buzz. Inter Miami didn't just become a circus, they became winners. Inter Miami won the MLS Cup in December 2025, with Messi playing a key role. Now, regardless of who you support, that matters, because winning creates legitimacy. Legitimacy creates tradition. Tradition creates culture. And culture is what keeps fans after the star is gone. So here's the key moment. The, oh, this is bigger than Miami moment. You don't need to be in Los Angeles or New York to be the center of the soccer universe. You need the right star power, the right plan, and the guts to go for it. And once one club proves it, the rest stop being scared. That's why the spending exploded. That's why the valuations climbed. That's why sponsorships and broadcasting packing keep evolving. Now zoom out even further. The ripple effect isn't only money, it's identity. For years, American soccer fans had this little itch in the back of their brain. I love the sport, but the biggest moments are always somewhere else. Champions League nights, World Cup knockouts, El Clásico, Premier League title races. Those are the stories people stayed up for. Messi and MLS didn't replace those stories, but it did something wild. It made American soccer feel connected to the main storyline of football history. Like the US isn't just watching the movie anymore, It's in the movie. And once that happens, kids grow up differently. Fans argue differently. Media covers it differently. The league starts acting like it belongs. That's legacy. And here's the part I want you to remember. Inter Miami was step 1. Step 2 is what happens when other clubs copy the blueprint. Step 3 is what happens when a kid in Ohio, or Texas, or California grows up thinking, MLS isn't a backup plan. MLS is a dream. And step 4 is the scariest one of all. Step 4 is when the world starts sending not just stars, but prime players. Not because they're done, because they want in. That's the real ripple effect. Messi didn't just bring attention to Inter Miami. He changed the math of what's possible for an entire league. So the next time you see an MLS club announce a record signing, or you see a stadium packed for a regular season match, or you hear about transfer spending exploding, or you notice brands fighting to get into soccer, don't just think, oh, MLS is growing. Think, this is the Messi revolution. And the crazy part? We're still in the early chapters. Because once the US hosts another World Cup in 2026, this whole thing could hit second gear. Especially if MLS keeps lowering the barriers to watching games and keep upgrading the product. So yeah, Inter Miami was just step 1. Messi didn't come here to end his story. He came here to start a new one that can revolutionize American soccer forever.